Jim Tressel in attendance for Ohio State versus Youngstown State. He won a national championship at both schools, retired as YSU's president earlier this year. And with a custom-made sweater vest, he's ready to go. St. Francis grad E.J. Johnson, the backup left tackle for the Penguins. Now, after catching just 2 passes all game at Indiana, Marvin Harrison Jr. helps the Buckeyes get off to a fast start. Opening drive, Harrison, the 71-yard score from Kyle McCord. This the first of 2 TDs, but the Penguins, they march right down the field at the OSU 1. Quarterback Mitch Davidson dives into the end zone. Third time OSU and YSU have played, but first time they've scored a TD. Now it's the second quarter, 14-7 game. Devin Brown in a quarterback, hands it off to Travion Henderson. He reaches the goal line, originally ruled a fumble and Penguins ball, but that would be overturned. Henderson had over 11 yards of carry and 2 touchdowns as the 5th-ranked Buckeyes win 35-7. And as Mark Coons tells us, Ohio State not really tested, but not really the offensive performance they were expecting either.
Conventional wisdom from most football coaches: if you win the toss, you defer your choice to the beginning of the second half. Well, earlier this week, Ryan Day said the Buckeyes would do the exact opposite. If they won the toss, they would take the ball against Youngstown State in order to get that first possession. We've seen the way that the new clock rules have limited the number of times Ohio State has had the ball. It happened again today, but they did score that first touchdown. Just 2.5 minutes into the game, they had a lead they would never relinquish, although it was a workmanlike 35-7 victory.
I think the difference right now is just the number of plays. Yeah, because if you don't get called for holding there and we score, it's 42, and we scored 6 touchdowns and 9 possessions. We'd take that 67% of our drives scoring touchdowns. But to your point, yeah, I mean we're used to scoring 60 and 70 in some of these games.
It was kind of really a disappointing win. Got a lot of things to clean up. Like I said earlier, we're supposed to mud these dudes, and I feel like we didn't do that today. But yeah, a lot of stuff to clean up.
A week ago, Marvin Harrison Jr. held in check by the Indiana Hoosiers, just 2 catches in the entire game. Well, today in the first quarter, he had 2 touchdown catches en route to a 7-catch, 160-yard performance, as we saw the Marvin Harrison Jr. we've been expecting.
And when you're in for one of these days that the clock's going to get milked out a little bit, you want to make sure that you're getting those touches early on. So to see him get those 2 big plays early that was a deep breath. But we targeted him a bunch. We targeted Mecca a bunch.
It was solid. I still think there's a lot to work on, a lot to improve. It's a long season, so it's only week 2. Just continue to get better each week and prepare for the bigger games coming up.
I felt like we played harder, and I felt like we executed better than we did last week. As Ohio State, 35 points is good, but our ceiling is way higher than that.
And while it would appear as if Kyle McCord is starting to edge ahead of Devin Brown, Ryan Day not ready to make that announcement. Certainly, we've got enough evidence to see that the offensive line continues to be the struggle point for this offense.
There were some good things today for sure, but to use your term about linear improvement, I think it's just the consistency. We can do it. I know we have the talent. Our guys are very, very talented, so we have to look at what we're doing schematically, make sure it's not too complex.
Obviously, I don't think we are where we want to be yet, but looking back on last week and then I think how we played this week, definitely a step in the right direction. And we got 5 really talented guys across the board, 5 guys who are really tough too. So I think just as an offense in general, it's just about taking that next step, and I think the O-line is included in that.
In Columbus, Mark Coons, BCSN.